Good afternoon and welcome to the Snakebite. I'm George Connolly.
And I'm Andrew Pauling, and here's what's going on in the world of FSC athletics. The indoor volleyball team was picked to finish 4th in the conference in the SSC preseason poll. The Mocs also received votes in the American Volleyball Coaches Association preseason poll, which highlights the top 25 teams in the nation. Last season, the Mocs went 22-11 under first-year head coach Chris Keene and made it all the way to the South Region semifinal game. The Mocs will open up their regular season at home on September 6th and 7th in the Terrace Hotel Classic. The Classic will feature a rematch of the 2017 National Championship game when the Mocs take on Concordia St. Paul in the first day of the tournament.
The men's soccer team was picked to finish 6th in the conference in the SSC preseason poll. The team is coming off of a 12-5 season. In 2018, the Mocs opened with 4 consecutive shutouts to start the season, going 435 minutes without allowing a goal until their 5th game of the season. The team opens their 2019 season next Friday on the road against Montevideo. On the women's side, the Mocs were picked to finish 7th in the SSC preseason poll. Our own Jillian Kurtz has more on their preseason mindset.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at Moccasin Field with women's soccer head coach Paul Lawrence. Coach, you're entering your 3rd season. What is your overall expectation for this season?
Well, I think the season we've got ahead of us is going to be one of those seasons where we have to learn a little bit from last season. Young squad with 7 new faces coming in, but we have to learn from the experiences from last season where we kind of left a few games out there where we could have probably done a little bit better with scoring some of the chances we had created. And defensively just not giving up as many goals. So I think there is a level of expectation that we want to improve on last season, but we're realistic enough to know that we're still very young and that we're probably going to go through some ups and downs through in the season ahead.
Okay, and so the team took a little step back last season after finishing with 8 wins in your first season. How do you plan on bringing some of that energy back?
Yeah, we've got a young group, as I said, but the chemistry is probably the tightest it's been in many years. So I think when you look at the older players amongst us, they've really galvanised this group. There's a lot of collective energy, and there's a closeness that we've probably not had before. So I think if we feed off of that, any of the disappointments we have, I think we're not going to be dwelling too much on that. We're going to be a little bit more positive with the outlook, with some of the troubles ahead, but with some of the wins as well. I think it's just being a little bit more humble as a group that we can just look to the next game and not look too far ahead and take each game as it comes.
And what do you expect from those 7 new players this season?
Yeah, we felt like they were players that would impact our roster immediately. One of them's a transfer, and she's got a proven track record of scoring goals, so we think she'll have a massive impact from the get-go. And then the younger players, they're from all over the different parts of the US, and that helps us with the just kind of bringing the togetherness of the team a little bit and different backgrounds. But what we're thinking is it gives us a balanced roster. So we've got depth in the midfield, we've got depth in defensive positions, and I think they're all players that are coming in with an expectation that they are ready to play and that they are needed to come in and help us instantly.
Okay, and so this Saturday you have some scrimmages coming up. How do you think those preseason scrimmages are going to help with your first season opener game?
So yeah, this weekend we play Polk State. We have not played them in many years, and certainly in my time. When I look at that game, it's an opportunity to get everyone on the field. We're going to be looking at a few different systems this season, but when we look at the system that we're probably going to play on Saturday, I think it would just allow us to look at some of the partnerships that we may have from that weekend and see how it would impact possibly the starting lineup for the opening game on September 5th. So I think it's just recognizing kind of where we are as a program in terms of players playing with confidence, some of the partnerships that we want to build within that game, and then hopefully having an eye on the Valdosta game and trying to see kind of our strongest lineup within the system we want to play on Saturday as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach. Good luck with your season, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for that, Jillian.
The tryout for Florida Southern's inaugural ice hockey team will be tomorrow from 3 to 5:30 at the Lakeland Ice Arena. There's also an open skate session today during that same time for any potential players looking to get a tune-up before the tryout. The registration forms can be found on fscmocs.com. Mike Moran joined our athletics staff in July as an assistant athletic director whose primary responsibilities will be handling alumni relations, community engagement, and facility scheduling. I had a chance to speak with him and discuss his first few weeks on the job. Here's what he had to say. Mike, welcome back to Florida Southern. Great to have you back. How has your experience been these first few weeks back on campus with us?
The first few weeks have been, it's interesting, it's rewarding. I'm glad to be back on campus. My 30 years of experience with law enforcement, I've learned to deal with people, and that's all it is here, is building relationships and dealing with people and students.
And as you just said, dealing with people and relationships, some of your responsibilities include alumni relations and community engagement. What new programs are you looking to implement, and what ones are you looking to continue that we've done here in the past?
I'm not really going to get rid of anything that's here and in place. What I'm looking for in alumni is gaining more interest from the athletic alumni as they leave. We want to get them more engaged, and it's not necessarily about giving money. It's just keeping them involved in the school that made them the men and women who they are. Community involvement, we have to build relationships here at Florida Southern. We're in the middle of a community, and we got to bring the community to us and let them know the things that we're doing.
And then you played soccer here back in '85. You graduated with the class of '89. How much did that impact your decision to come back to Florida Southern now?
Greatly. I love my time here. I was a student athlete. I was also involved in the Greek life. Living in Lakeland my whole adult life, I've never really been away from Florida Southern, so when the opportunity came to come back to Florida Southern, it was an easy one. I love my time there, and why not try to continue that and give the student athletes the best times of their lives.
And as you mentioned, you spent the last 2 decades in law enforcement with the Lakeland Police Department. What life skills are you planning on bringing from those 2 decades to your time here?
I think I said it once before, but building relationships. We as administrators and have to get these student athletes to build relationships, because soccer is going to be over sometimes and other sports will be over at certain points. Not everybody's going to professional ranks, so they have to get something out of their time here at Southern. And if we can build a relationship where they can potentially build some sort of a job out of this, that's what our job is. It's just college is over quicker than most people admit, so we want to make sure that they're ready for the outside world.
Well said, Mike. Thank you for the time. Great to have you back on campus.
In baseball news, it was announced that the Southeastern University Fire signed a 3-year contract extension with the Detroit Tigers to play an exhibition game as part of their spring training schedule. Now, Andrew, you got to attend a Mocs exhibition your freshman year. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So the Mocs had played against the Tigers in spring training for decades. This was a long-standing tradition. I got to go to the game my freshman year. The whole JV baseball team, we got to sit together. They hooked us up with a whole row of seats. It was a really awesome experience. It was one of the best experiences of that year. For me personally, having elbow surgery and all that, I didn't get to play, so getting to go to that game in addition to everything else was awesome. And it stunk that we didn't get to have that game last year because of a scheduling conflict. And then on top of that, now for the next 3 years, we're not going to get to experience it again in our time in college, and I think that's really just a shame.
Now, does this news come as any surprise to you?
I mean, absolutely. It was something that they used as part of recruiting for the school. It was a big day on school. You weren't here yet. This was before your freshman year, but most of the campus, academically, whatever, it didn't matter, was focused on that game that day. It was a really big thing for the entire campus as a whole. It was something that everyone looked forward to. And it's just, when it comes down to it, it is a shame that we're not going to have it for at least the next 3 years. And then I hope that the future generations of Mocs get to have that experience again sometime in the near future. So that's it for baseball. Let's switch on to cross country. In cross country news, the men's team was picked to finish second in the conference in their preseason poll. The Mocs had 55 total points and 1 first-place vote in the poll, finishing behind Embry-Riddle's 63 points and 7 first-place votes. All region selections, Mason Jones and Josh Wagner, are both returning for their junior seasons under head coach Matt Levasseur. The women's team finished third in their preseason poll with 49 total points and 1 first-place vote. They follow Embry-Riddle, who had 55 points and 2 first-place votes, and Tampa, who had 61 total points and 6 first-place votes in the poll. All region selections, Addison Cantor and Hannah Fleming, will be headlining this year's squad.
The women's basketball team has announced the addition of an exhibition game at Florida State set for October 27th. The Mocs are coming off a 30-4 season, while FSU finished with a record of 24-9 last season. More information as far as a live stream and ticketing is concerned will be released on fscmocs.com at a later date. And last week, we highlighted 3 former Mocs who had signed pro basketball contracts over the summer, and a 4th Moc has joined that list, as Jonathan Lawton has announced on his Instagram that he has signed with the Tralee Warriors and will be playing in Ireland this season. Lawton joins Slinky Jones, Camille Giardina, and Anya Fuchs-Robitin as members of the 2019 class to sign pro contracts in this recent week. That's all from us this week at the Snakebite. I'm George Connolly.
And I'm Andrew Pauling, and we'll see you guys next week.